Good morning, Michelle. Linda Jacobs, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. You have to bear with me for just a second here. I'm trying to finish something else up here at the same time. I'll be with everybody in just a second. My apologies. Wait for it to finish loading.
If you shop on
Okay. Okay, I'm back. Good morning to everyone. Soccer mom of one. Good morning. Welcome back to the internet. Yeah, it's been a very interesting week. So, give you guys, everybody out there, a little bit of context to her comment. So, for 7 days, last Saturday till yesterday, we had no internet, no cable TV, no home phone, nothing. The internet would come on sometimes for 15 minutes and then it was gone, 5 minutes, but it would never let me upload anything. So there was no upload at all. It would just come on and then it would go off again. We had no idea what was going on. So during this COVID time, my wife has been working from home half of her normal schedule. She's management, so she's been, when she's supposed to be in the office doing payroll and stuff like, and other, managerial things, she's been here at home and trying to deal with things remotely because they want to limit how many people are actually there in the laboratory in case there is an outbreak. It doesn't wipe out everyone in the lab. So they've been trying to get managers and certain people to work 3 shifts, an AM shift, an afternoon shift, and an evening shift. Well, that was almost impossible. With no internet, she had to go to work and she was forced to be at work. Since she couldn't answer emails and do other things remotely, she either had to go to work and stay at work for 12 hours a day, some days 16 hours, or she had to go to Starbucks like I did. And well, Starbucks is 23 miles away. That's how far it is to the first place with public Wi-Fi. Normally, we could go to our city library, but the library has been closed. And since they closed the library because of COVID, there is no Wi-Fi. They turned the Wi-Fi off, so we can't even go to the parking lot of the library. We tried using the Wi-Fi at the police department, but they changed the password. And the administrator of who takes care of that, we haven't been able to get a hold of. They gave us a phone number on a piece of paper that was cut off, and they said, call him. Oh, yeah, 23 miles to go to Starbucks. The coffee's a little over expensive. Good coffee, but a little expensive. The muffins, blueberry muffins, and the scones are pretty good. I think I've built up an addiction to their blueberry muffins. And so I don't know where they get them from. They might be freshly made from a local bakery, but churches, yeah, I checked into churches. There's a Catholic church that's about 9 miles from here. But I went there. They have it's not just a church, a Catholic church, but they also have a monastery there on the property, and they also have a K through, I think, 8th grade, or maybe it's 9th grade. but they don't have, you can't go there for everything to graduation, but you can go there. I think it's middle school, and then once you get into high school level, you have to go to another high school, one of the high schools. But yeah, I couldn't get on their Wi-Fi. It was unreliable, to say the least. So at least from the parking lot. Maybe if I was inside the building. But I tried everywhere. Ginger Ninja, good morning. Long time no see. I hope you are doing well, sweetheart. Say hi. Hope you're doing well. Well, I really hope you're doing well, Ginger. It's a cruel, cruel world out there. You keep your head up. Keep your head up and don't let the negative naysayers out there get to you. Good morning, Mike. Hope you and Brandy are doing well. JJ51, whoop, whoop, I caught alive. Well, good morning, JJ51. And Michelle, good morning again. Can anybody see? All right, I have somebody who's in the comment section right now, and I don't know if you guys can see him or not. But does anybody see Devin, Devin? He commented right after Soccer Mom of One's the scones are so yummy. Before Ginger Ninja. It's not a big deal if you can't see him or not, but I thought I had him blocked. You have a great day, Ginger. Debbie, good morning. That's all right. He's Devin is, he doesn't, if in case he pops back up, because I know he's got several different names on here. But if he pops back up, it's not that he's trying to be hurtful. He's just not very tactful. And he asks questions and makes comments that, I don't know, it's kind of hard to, he doesn't mean to be a jerk. But I gave him several chances. I told him I was going to block him if he kept on doing it. Because he's on another forum that I'm part of. Can't see him? Well, I clicked on his name to hide him. But I don't know if he's going to come back. He's got, like I said, he's got several different names. But it always starts with Devin, and then he's got one with a series of like numbers after it. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Devin 1, 2, 3. I don't know how people have so many different YouTube usernames, but apparently you can have them as long as you have email addresses. Kevin Brand, good morning from South Carolina. I met somebody online the other day from Norfolk. It was pretty interesting. I had a pretty good conversation with them. They ended about 40 minutes ago. It went well. Make sure I'm just scrolling up here to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Carol, Rickard, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could be here this morning. Jennifer Johnson, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I hope you are doing well. Glad you could make it this morning. Faithful One, Michelle, good morning. Faithful One. Oh, it's Faithful One. Just Faithful One. She's saying hello to Michelle. Well, good morning to both of you. Hennessy held. Retracted your own message. Okay? Well, good morning, Hennessy held. I'm glad you could be here this morning. I hope you are doing well, Hennessy. My coffee just got done. I'm going to have a great day. Cold as heck here. It's not going to get up over 32 degrees today. That's the high today, 32. It's currently, I think, 26 degrees. Cameron, I went to Shannon Bella Celeste's grave a few weeks back. You did? Did you see the memorial bench? I hope so. I'm not sure if the memorial bench is near their actual grave or not. I mean, obviously I haven't been there. It's all the way across the country from me. Tried to take a nap like 13 hours ago. Just woke up like a half an hour ago. Wow. Must have been a long week, like you said, Mike. Oh, I didn't doubt that it wasn't there. Oh, Kevin, I just wondered how close proximity the memorial bench is to their actual graves. I think that'd be pretty cool to see. I don't know if I took pictures of it. I don't know if I'd ever share them. I kind of feel weird about that. At the same time, because something not their their memorial grave, but something along those lines about graveyards and headstones came up recently in a story that I'm actually I was researching. I kind of pretty much stopped, but I was doing research for a case where someone who he had some world notoriety, in the world, but was murdered, and his grave is about 35 miles from where I live. And so it'd be easy for me to go there, and take a picture of his headstone. But I was sitting there, I was thinking, it's like, it's kind of creepy, me walking into a grave, site, cemetery, to take a picture of someone's headstone. Oh, maybe it's just me. I just feel, even visiting my own father's grave, I go there every year to, cut the grass back from the headstone, because the cemetery where his grave is, and his marker next to the family mausoleum, they don't do a whole lot of maintenance as say that what I would like to see done. They mow the lawn, they mow the grass, they clean up the flowers and debris and leaves and stuff like that, but they don't cut they don't edge the grass back away from the concrete or from the markers there. So every time I go, I bring a bucket, a spade, because you're not allowed any power tools, because I tried that before. Bringing an electric edger, going around the whole entire mausoleum. But so I bring a spade and a bucket, and I go there and I edge around the entire walkway and around the mausoleum, because the grass grows pretty quick. So if you don't keep up on it, it'll overrun it in a heartbeat. Yeah, sounds like a great nap. I can't remember the last time I took a nap, Mike. There's been days where I could definitely use a nap, especially with the 4-year-old. He wears me out. I removed it because of spelling mistakes. Ivory, my God, good morning. Oh, okay. That happens sometimes, Hennessy. You can. I've noticed like sometimes I'll type a comment in a live stream and it'll double, repeat. Or I hit the enter and I don't think it went through, so I'll do it again, and then it comes up. So now there's two of them. It happens. It's all good. Just wondering, why you removed it. I never saw it, so it's all good. Gayla, good morning. Welcome to the stream, sweetheart. I hope you are doing well this morning. I find graveyards and headstones very fascinating. There's so much history. Also, there is so much sadness. Yeah. I mean, when I was a little kid, I used to live at the bottom of a hill near a cemetery. And we used to play in the cemetery all the time, play hide and seek and, tag in the cemetery because there wasn't any place else to run around, as kids. There's no parks that were nearby. We moved from Wisconsin to St. Paul, and we lived on Sycamore Avenue. Well, it was near Sycamore and Rice Avenue. A lot of that area has changed. There used to be homes down in that area. I don't know if there is anymore. A lot of them got bulldozed, unless they were historical. But we ended up selling up that house to my grandmother. It was an interesting time in life. But there's a lot of there's a cemetery nearby here where a gentleman try to use all right, I'll use my hands as an example so you can all see this. So his headstone is massive. It's probably 4 feet by 8 feet tall. All right, but there's a big marble slab, and then there is a Rubik's cube, a life-size Rubik's cube on a point as his headstone, and you can actually turn the headstone on there, and each and every square on it actually has the same saying on it. It has his name, his date of birth, but I guess he was like some kind of like Rubik's cube like champion, speed champion or something. But it's huge. It takes like 3 people to turn the stupid thing, but you can turn each like 2 of the sections this way. You can't turn it this way, but you can turn them this way. Really cool headstone. We have not too far from here. We have a Civil War cemetery. It's Civil War, World War I, and World War II cemetery, but it's not a veterans cemetery. It was just those who died who lived in this area and were sent back home. Or they also have a huge marker there for those who never returned from the wars. But it's not a veteran cemetery because they also have a baby section of the cemetery, which is kind of really super sad. Babies and children who died of cholera and something else. I can't remember what the other one was, but they have them listed by colors. You can go to and pick up them. It's like one of those plastic boxes you open up, you can pull out a sheet. Like one of those ones they put on if you have to sell your house, and it has like a pictures and definition of what of your house. But they have one of those there where you can look at and each section is color coded for Civil War, World War I, World War II, babies, and then I think there might be another section, but it's a really small section because the babies are and children on the outside, and so are the ones when you first come through the gate. Good morning, Connie Kelly. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could be here this morning. Opinionated Oma. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you doing, Oma? I hope you are doing well and staying safe and warm. It's getting cold. Doing good. How are you and your youngsters? Mike, lights were not wanting to light up 100%. So I got more last night. Oh, lights for your Christmas tree? I thought you got a dead tree done already. We haven't done ours yet. Our Christmas tree. We don't. Every year we buy a live tree in the pot, so we can plant it after Christmas. So we also have several smaller fake trees that are. We got one that's really expensive that looks a lot like a real tree, but it comes apart in like 5 sections. But we haven't set that one up in years. I just keep on moving it around. But we have several smaller ones that we put up and around in the house. Not my verbiage. Good morning. Long time just getting over the COVID. Oh, I'm sorry, Linda. Well, I hope you're doing better. Really sorry to hear about that. I see you. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could be here this morning. Good, Oma. Glad you're doing well. Yeah, you can go to a nursery. So this is how me and my wife started doing that, Linda, is it has to be 20 some years ago. We went to a Christmas tree lot, and it was like $30 for a tree here where we live, because the trees have to come from quite a distance because we live in the middle of the desert. There isn't any trees around here you're going to cut down, for a Christmas tree, unless you want something that looks like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree, which is actually kind of cool. They actually sell those, by the way, online. They're an already dead tree that has been completely lacquered. They dip it in lacquer, so it's hard. It's only got like 3 branches on it and like 5 little needles. It's super cool. But and it was like $30 for a tree that was dead, and we're like, well, how much is a fake tree? So we went to this store, and a good-looking fake tree was $50, and we're like, well, how much is a live tree? So we went online and we called. Well, I don't know if it was online. Maybe it was. We got out the phone book. I don't know if anybody remembers phone books. It was like this book that had paper in it. It had numbers on it. Yeah, and letters. So we called up a local nursery, and they said, well, we have live trees in several different sizes. And the price depends upon the how big of a tree you want. So the first one we bought was about 3 feet, and then the pot was maybe 2 feet, so it was about a 5-foot tree. And that was great for our little starting family. Our daughter was 2 or 3 at the time. So he said, yeah. We went and bought a live tree, and then we planted that in the front yard of the home that we had at that time. And it's still there to this day. I mean, the house has changed hands several times since we lived there, but it's probably about 8.5 feet tall now. So it's still growing good. And so every year we buy one, and we either plant it here, at our house. Like this year, we'll plant it in the front yard because we took down a tree last year that had rot in the trunk of the tree. So it was either we take it down or it was going to fall down. So we have the stump and everything mulched up. So we'll plant it there in the front yard. And what you do is even if it's wintertime, right now the ground's frozen. So what I did was I already dug the hole where the tree is going to go, and before it gets it thaws completely, the tree will stay in the house, and I just keep on watering it. It sits in the front window, so it still gets sunlight. Excuse me. And we've planted them other places besides our home. We planted them at my mother-in-law's. We planted them at my sister's. But that's how the tradition started. Phone book, what? Yeah. And oddly enough, they still make them, Mike. I was at the convenience store the other day getting gas, and they had them out front in this wood thing next to it. And I'm like, phone books? They still make phone books? What really shocked me is businesses still advertising them. I'm like, what? Excuse me. Pepper Shake, welcome to the stream. I live in the pine tree state, have 20 acres, not many pine trees on our land, and we got Charlie Brown tree. Looks good after decorated. The Evergreen State, so are you in Washington State? Because we're in Washington State, but we're on the east side of the state where, well, there isn't anything. It's kind of funny. So I don't know how far it is from here. I'd have to think about it. But there's a city that's not too well. I mean, you could be there in about an hour from where I live. Maine. Oh, okay. That's where Tim's from. My buddy Tim is from Maine, but he's from Old Town, Maine. But so we live in what's called a semi-desert, and there's a town that's up the highway, up I want to say 60 miles, maybe 70 miles from here. Nothing around, just sagebrush and rocks, as far as you can see. One of the farmers, as a joke, because his property borders the freeway, as a joke, he put up a sign that said Connell National Forest. There isn't any forest there. So he planted one lone pine tree, and it grew for years and years and years, probably 20, 25 years. And then some a-hole came along and chopped it down and left it right there. Didn't even chop it down and take it home as a Christmas tree, but chopped it down anyways. So there was a huge outcrying about the entire incident. So people came from far and wide, and they didn't plant just one pine tree. They planted dozens of them the first year. And then they put in an underground well to water the trees to make sure there was irrigation for the trees. And then those dozens of trees then turned into more. And for every year afterwards, people still go out there and they plant trees every year. It's kind of cool. "20 miles from me, Old Town." That's cool. I had a friend and subscriber, of this channel, who went to Stephen King's home and took a video of his gate and around his property, because I wanted to see the gate. It wasn't like I wanted to stalk Stephen King, but went to Bangor to his home there, and I don't know if he still lives there or not, but I just wanted to see the ornateness of the gate that went around his home. Pretty cool. Drama must remain on stage. Good morning. I remember party lines in the late 50s, early 60s. Gala, when I moved here to where I live, that was, if you had a home phone, that was how you actually knew, depending upon how the phone rang, if you knew the phone call was actually for your household. So it's kind of like a party line, I guess. But where I live is everything here is controlled by the government. At least it was up until the late 80s, early 90s. Everything. You didn't piss in a bucket without the bucket being owned by the government. The U.S. government owned everything. They controlled the phone. They controlled your utilities. They controlled everything. But yeah, that was how the phone was. And our phone number was 3 digits. 3-digit number. Still remember to this day. It was a pretty safe community because no one ever came here. If you saw a car that you didn't know in this area, you knew your neighbors. You knew what kind of cars they had. And it's not a tiny, back then it wasn't that small. There was probably about 160,000 people here, 120,000, somewhere in there, roughly. And there's like several cities, 5 cities total, that all together. I mean, if you counted all as one, that would be the population. But in the city that I live in, back in the 80s, it was probably 80,000. But you knew your neighbors because nobody ever went anywhere. Nobody ever moved in new. People moved out of the area, but people didn't move into the area. Shelley William, good morning, and welcome to the stream. Glad you could be here this morning. Carrie Ludwig, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well, Carrie. This thing is done running. I can finally turn that laptop off and bright light in my eyes. I was in the middle of what they call it, exporting a video for YouTube. I had to wait for it to get done. I used to pick up the phone and ask the operator to dial our number, and it's busy. I had to find out how it worked. Yeah, we didn't have we had a local operator where you'd call and the operator would pick up the phone. You picked up the phone. There was no dial tone. You pick it up and then there'd be someone there, and they'd say hello, and then you'd say, I need to call, and you tell them the number that you need to call or the extension if you're calling a business. So most of the businesses were, I need to call 419, and extension 32. And then that would be, a government office extension to building 32 or whatever, you're calling. Or you just told them, I need to call, connect with, Roto-Rooter or whoever, and then they would just connect you. But that was how the phone system was here. In the 1980s, it was like that. And we had to dial, and then we had the touch tone phones. And I still remember when they assigned this area where I live an area code, but that we got an area code before everybody got a 7-digit phone number. And that was after the deregulation of Ma Bell. I don't remember when that was. But it took a while after Ma Bell, because Ma Bell was in the deep pockets of, the government here. Ma Bell ran all the telephone systems, but, nobody could compete with Ma Bell. I don't know if anybody else remember this, but I've got a guitar case in the house that has a bunch of those stickers on it that you used to see everywhere. 5 and dime, or not for the store, 5 and dime, but 5 cents for 10 minutes if you wanted to call long distance within the United States. You call this extension number, and then that they would connect you to the long distance number that you wanted to call. So for 5 cents, you could call for 10 minutes. Yeah, I know I'm dating myself pretty good though. Soccer Mama One, I was a receptionist at a company that had a pegboard. It was a very old system. The phone company was waiting to put it in a museum when the building was sold. We have a local museum here, and they have one. Well, they have one of those small ones, the pegboards with all the wires. They have one of those there in the museum. You have to understand that in context of a little bit more about where I live. So everything here were homes, every home except for probably a couple of dozen homes, but overwhelmingly, 99% of all the homes in this area were built by the government. They were built in Michigan and Chicago, and then they were put on trains, and then they were shipped out here to where we live. And they would, this is your lot where your home's going to be, or your acreage where your home's going to be, and they would deliver it by truck. They would set it on the ground, and they would hand you an envelope of kind of like a vanilla envelope. It had the instructions on how to put your home together. Now you think that the homes wouldn't be very well built. They certainly weren't when they were first put together. And it was like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. Side A bolted to side B, C to B, and then so on and so on. And that would put the outer edges of the homes together. For the first year that people got their homes, they had no windows and they had no roof. And then they got their windows. And then after they got their windows, they still didn't have a roof. It didn't matter if it rained, it snowed, or whatever. You didn't have a roof. You had a giant canvas top that went over the top of your house that was nailed down along the outside exterior edges. And if you didn't build your house right, the canvas was already pre-made to go over the top of it and to be nailed down. And neighbors helped neighbors put together each other's houses. So Bob on the corner would finish his home, and then Bob would go over to Sam's house, Sam's lot, and then Sam and Bob would help build Sam's house. They would get done, and so they had to work their normal jobs, so that after work they would then go do the next house and the next house, and other neighbors then would join in because Bob couldn't do it anymore, or Sam couldn't do it, and whole entire blocks of homes were built this way. To say that the construction skills of some of these people were extraordinarily lacking is unbelievable. And every home here has a letter of the alphabet. A house, B house, C house, D house, and all the way up to they ran through the entire alphabet, and then they started using AA house, BB house, CC house. And each letter represents a different type of home. And A house was a 2-story home that was a duplex. It was called the workers' home for starting families. Then there's like a B house, which is a single family kind of like ranch home. And every one of the homes, there wasn't any foundation, no basements built for any of the homes. They were all built on what they called post and beam homes. So you would put the posts in the ground, then you'd build the floor, and then all the rest of it was like jigsaw puzzle to put together. And I've remodeled a couple of these homes, and it is shocking how some of these people put these houses together. I was taking one house I was remodeling that we lived in. I took out one nail, and the entire wall fell. One nail. I took out one nail, and the whole wall. It was an 8-foot wall, and the only thing that was holding it in was carpet that was on the floor and linoleum on the opposite side, and then one nail. I don't know how to work dial phones, They have no idea how to pick up the receiver and get dial tones. Kids. Somewhere in a box in the house, I have one of the old flip phones. I was showing my daughter that, and she's like, "Why would you ever have a phone like this?" I'm like, "Well, this was actually, I was trying to explain to her, how much of a technology leap it was from the brick cell phone to the flip phone." And she's like, "Dad, it's crazy." And she pulls out her, $1,100 phone, and she's like, "But how did you, get onto the internet?" I'm like, "Internet? You didn't have that. That wasn't an option. Dial tone, that'd freak her out." Craftsman Homes. I don't remember what the Craftsman's. There are some towards the outer edges of the town where the management and officers, higher up officers, lived. They didn't have alphabet homes. They actually built their own homes. Now that a lot of the alphabet homes have been bulldozed. There's like a 3-mile buffer between me and the main city center, where they bulldozed a lot of the homes, and they put up parks and other things, because the population was, at one point, we had more people who lived here than in Seattle and the surrounding areas, but the population died off, especially since it's more, this area is more of like a research center now. Still a lot of government contractors and subcontractors out there here in the in this area, but as people moved in, and we got a lot of Californians came up here, and they didn't like the homes that were here because, well, they're pretty ugly, but they were functional. They served a purpose, especially during the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It definitely served a purpose. They eventually bulldozed them and built new homes on the same lots. A lot of them have been remodeled. We get a lot of those companies here who are sell us your home, guaranteed cash tomorrow. So they offer 60% of a home's value, and people take it. They wouldn't be here if people didn't take it. Move to Rain Dancer. Good morning. Glad you could be here this morning. Hope you're doing well. When I moved to the country, we had a party line. Hated it. I mean, when I look back on it, though, I didn't hate it. It wasn't the telephone wasn't really something that I remember using a lot of when I was younger. It was, if I wanted to talk to someone, I just went to their home. I guess technology's made it better, right? That's sarcasm, but yeah, if I wanted to talk to my friends, I didn't pick up the telephone and go call them. I walked over to their home. I knew when it was time to come home when the street lights came on, and I mean it wasn't uncommon to see children 5, 6 years old outside playing until the street lights came on all the time. The very first day that we moved here, my mother handed me a piece of notebook paper and a pencil, and she told me, "I want you to walk down this street as far as you can go and write down every street that you come across that crosses this way." I'm like, "Okay." And my little sister was in a stroller at the time. And my other sister, who was just young, she's 2 years younger than me, she went with us. So the three of us just started walking. And then I looked up at the street sign and wrote down every single name of every single cross street, not a huge town, but every cross street, and we came back, and because we didn't have city maps, nobody had a map of this damn place, and there is no streets in this entire place that go completely through from one side to the other. You can't do it, and it was built that way on purpose. So we would do that, and then the next day, or maybe it was a week later, we went out to the corner, and then she said, "Okay, now go this way and write down all the cross streets." So we did that until we couldn't walk anymore. Maybe it was 3 miles one way and 3 miles the other direction. But what else are you going to do? I mean, we lived across the street from a park, but the park was basically just a grass field. There wasn't anything there. And that's what you did. You entertained yourself. Not a lot to do here. Still isn't a lot to do here. It's always been one of the biggest complaints about people who raise families here, is there's nothing for children to do. They've gotten a little bit better in the last 20 years, but not so much. Not like any other major metropolitan area, would have parks and playgrounds, or, slides, something. And where I live, you'll never find a building over 3 stories, ever. As long as the government is here, you'll never find a building over 3 stories because of nuclear war. In case a nuclear bomb ever gets dropped here, they don't want anything over 3 stories. Oh boy, I missed a whole bunch of comments. Sorry. Snowy Photography. Good morning. I know a farmhouse. I have like crawl spaces for basements where the floors are just dirt. Wouldn't want that. My basement just another level, very useful and not spooky. Here, when people finally started putting basements in, they would do what they put cinder block in for the foundation, for the basement, and they never did the concrete floors or anything, So a lot of the homes here that have basements, they're only half finished or 3/4 of the way finished. In the basement in my house is only considered a half finished basement. Now, what they did was they concreted half of it. They put 2 bedrooms in the basement, and then there's a wall that comes up of cinder block, and then it goes over. So they concreted that in, and so it looks like half of a basement and half of a wall. It makes for good storage area. We don't need all the space anyways. Typewriter, one of those computers with paper screens. My daughter has a typewriter that she uses as in the background. She calls it nostalgic stuff in the background. She's got an old black and white TV. I think it's a Montgomery Ward's. It can't be more than 12-inch screen, but she got a little Montgomery Ward's black and white TV. She's got a typewriter. She has an old dial-up phone. What else is in the background? Trying to picture in my head. But she does her own thing. It's a soundproof studio because she does voiceover work in there. Somebody asked me earlier how you can find her. She in her voiceover work. It's on. She has something on Fiverr or something like that. But a lot of the work she does is for a studio. So, Shelly Williams, welcome to the channel membership. Thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it. I believe there's 145 videos that are for channel members only. And you'll also see in the community tab, there are posts that are just community members only that nobody else can see. I also do live streams, and I do videos, live streams, and comments in the community section that are just for members. And just remember, you can't find them all unless you actually turn on all notifications for my channel. But when you hit that bell icon, don't select see some occasionally. You have to click the just bell icon, because you get 3 different choices on the bell now. So you will not see the live streams for members if you or be told about it if you are just some notifications. I don't pick the system, it's YouTube. But again, welcome to the channel membership. Well, thank you, Shelly. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the content. Obviously, you must, because bye, soccer mom of one. You stay safe out there, sweetheart, and we'll see you again. Good morning, Kathy. I want to say good morning to you, sweetheart. I didn't mean to miss you. Is anybody having a hard time getting into the Christmas spirit this year? Well, Kathy, I mean, after what 2020 has thrown at me and my family this year, it is. But we've decided that we're going to change things up this year, and we're going to put more emphasis on being thankful for what we do have left in life, that we have those around us who are still here, have our health, and that we're still here to be with each other. And it's never been about the consumption, of mass consumerism for us, but just be thankful for what you have and who you have around you, and start with that. And then get yourself some eggnog and some bourbon or scotch or whatever you like. Sit down, turn on the Lifetime Network, and start watching some Christmas movies. So what we're going to do, well, peppermint schnapps and eggnog. My wife doesn't like eggnog. I love eggnog. I could drink the stuff all year long. But then again, I also drink buttermilk. So I really hope I didn't miss anybody else. I've been scrolling up and down through this, and I didn't mean to miss anybody while I was doing this, and I should have been doing this. Hot cocoa and brandy. We got a bunch of those sampler packs. So my daughter bought all the alcohol from an estate sale. We know the people that that was having the estate sale, but wow, for like $100, she got an entire giant liquor cabinet, and 90% of it has never been opened before. So many different whiskeys and bourbons and and vodkas and brandies. She got like 4 bottles of Hennessy in there. But there are so many of those little boxes they only sell at Christmas time. The samplers of different Kahluas. I didn't know they even made that many different Kahluas. I think there's like 9 different samples of different kinds of Kahlua and Baileys in there. Because there's sample boxes of different kinds of Baileys, like peppermint Baileys and regular Baileys and dark chocolate Baileys. But yeah. Ooh, apple cider, yum. I had an apple cider the other day. It was a hard apple cider. I'm trying to remember who made it. Oh, Angry Orchard. That was the name of the company. Angry Orchard. I don't know if anybody can get those where you are. Have you heard the warning of Dr. Pepper added thin slices of lemon can add alcohol? Wait, have you heard of the warning Dr. Pepper and adding a thin slice of lemon can add alcohol? No, I hadn't heard of that. Drama must remain on stage. You have Angry Orchard there? It's actually not that bad. I've never had one before. And I was over at my friend's house, and we were having dinner. There was three of us. We weren't social distancing very well because we were probably, I don't know, 3 feet from each other, if that. But he drinks like these really disgusting microbrew beers. They're like really, really dark and they're bitter. I can't remember the name of the company. That I can picture the bottle, but I was like, nope. And his wife had a bunch of those Bud Light seltzers, and then she had some of those Angry Orchards. And I tried one of those Angry Orchards. It was actually pretty good. Well, I was pleasantly surprised by that. Angry Orchards were decent when I used to drink. Good morning, MT. Apple pie shot glass, quarter cup of vodka, apple cider, sprinkle with cinnamon, shake and down. Yummy. My wife's favorite drink is what she calls it. It's creamsicle. So it's really simple to make, ladies and gentlemen. So a shot of vodka. It has one teaspoon, not a tablespoon, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, and then orange juice, and then ice. And it tastes just like the ice cream creamsicle. She swears by it. I was like, that's weird. Why are you putting pure vanilla? And well, when you think about how much pure vanilla is, what? Yeah. I mean, I'm like, what the hell? Why not get some imitation vanilla? She's like, it doesn't taste the same. And I don't want that stuff in my body. I'm like, okay, well, I guess don't eat anything with vanilla in it. But she loves those. I just had some apple pie with my coffee. That's my son's favorite thing to say. Apple pie. Apple pie. It comes from a children's book of his. On Thanksgiving, he wanted apple pie, but we didn't have any apple pie. We had pecan, we had pumpkin, we had cherry, but we didn't have any apple pie. And he was really super sad, and that there was no apple pie. Well, we forgot that he likes apple pie. So later on that night, when we were getting ready for bed, and I was reading him, his bedtime stories, and we normally, I try to, ease him down before he goes to sleep. So we have a relaxing time where we sit and we read books. First book he went into the bedroom and grabbed off his bookshelf was it's a Happy Easter book or something like that, but it has apple pie in it. And he got that book off the shelf, flipped it open, and pointed at the picture. Apple pie. Apple pie. And I was like, oh, shit. I forgot about the apple pie. Again, thank you for reminding me. So next day I went out and got a Cyrus O'Leary apple pie from Costco. Got it at Costco. He loves apple pie. I like vodka and cranberry juice and Sprite. Yeah. That's another one that my wife likes to drink. That, or she has a version of what they, Sex on the Beach that her and her friends make. But she likes vodka and cranberry juice and Sprite. Yeah. That's another one that my wife likes to drink. That, or she has a version of what they, Sex on the Beach that her and her friends make. But she likes vodka and cranberry juice and Sprite. Yeah. when her and her friends go out, they go out for mojitos. She likes mojitos. I'm like, whatever. I've never been into mixed drinks. Now there was a time in my life when I had friends who used to drink 151 and grapefruit juice, Greyhound, kind of like their version of a Greyhound. I think that's what they called it. But it was grapefruit juice in 151. Ugh. 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 Gives me the shivers just thinking about it. Mother-in-law makes the best apple pie. Every year for Christmas, Kayla, that's what my mother-in-law makes me my own personal little 10-inch apple pie. She uses Fuji apples along with Granny Smith, so it's like a mixture of the two types of apples in it. But she makes it just for me, and it has kind of an oatmeal crumble. So it's oatmeal mixed with brown sugar, molasses, and crumble. It's on the top of it, and when you bake it, it forms like kind of like a candy layer on the top of the apples. Ooh, it's so good. So fattening though, but so good. I don't know, Mike. Tell you the truth, I don't know if they still make 151 or not. When I used to be a volunteer bartender at our local Loyal Order of the Moose Lodge, I used to, help fill in from time to time as a bartender whenever we needed somebody. But I used to have to go to the liquor store then. But the Moose Lodge where we were, we didn't buy a whole lot of 151. When it came to vodkas and stuff like that, it was Ketty's. Ketty's? Yeah, I think it's called Ketty's. Ketty's vodka. And Absolute vodka is what we bought a lot of. When it came 151, we bought 151 Gold, and we bought Everclear. So they had it then. That was 3, maybe 4 years ago. So I don't know if they still make it or not. To tell you the truth, I don't ever go to a liquor store because here in Washington State, unlike in California, you guys can get it at at 7-Eleven. Here in Washington State, you have to go to an actual liquor store that's controlled just by the state. They're starting to relax it somewhat. You can now find liquor stores that are attached or part of convenience stores, but for the most part, you can't. You have to go to a state liquor control board, store that is run just by the state. It might be subcontracted by another company, but the state still controls it. At least in my area, I don't know of any. Might be different on the west side of the state. But I just remember when I was in the service and I was in California, I would go in and buy a Slurpee at 7-Eleven and get little tiny bottles of Jack Daniels to put in Slurpees. Good morning, Quill. Totally off the subject, Quill, but did you know that there is a website that is called quill.com? I had no idea that the place that ever even existed until yesterday. It's kind of like I don't know, Amazon, I guess, to be close to Amazon, because I have a Capital One, and they have this new, they bought out WikiBuy, the coupon thing, and it popped up that Well, here's these three places that have competing offers, but this one you get cash back at. And I'm like, what the hell's quill.com? Never heard of it till yesterday. I don't know what they all sell. I haven't been back to the site. I kind of checked it out a little bit. I was like, oh, I never heard of them. But the price met. They offered Capital One reward thing was offering 3 different places: eBay, Amazon, and Quill.com. And the Quill.com was the same price as buying it from Amazon. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to go check it out. I just never got around to it. I was buying my son a new Amazon Kindle, the Fire, with a child-proof case on it, so he can't break it in case he drops it, which is quite a bit because he's 4. And I wanted to get it and get him a replacement because he's got a Samsung tablet now, but you have to pay for the Samsung subscription to keep the damn thing running because they don't have a lot of downloadable programs for it. Good morning, Cement Shoes. Left-handed RN. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? Glad you can make it to the stream this morning. Starfire, welcome. Hope you are doing well, Starfire. Welcome to the stream. I hope you are both doing well this morning. Hope I didn't miss anybody else. Lori Beth. There are so many flavored vodkas now. It's crazy. Yeah, there are. I know when it comes to Bacardi, makes so many different ones. You can get them in lemon, lime. I got a friend who drinks the Bacardi lime or the limeade or whatever it is. And then they make it in the single bottles. They make it in the big bottle, and they have cranberry and chocolate and you name it. They have a lot. That's just Bacardi. I'm sure everybody else is doing the same thing. But welcome to the stream, Lori. Sorry I missed you. Daidi, good morning. I love listening to you, but I got to get going. Well, sorry, Daidi. I hope you didn't leave before I got to say hello. I didn't mean to miss you. You stay safe out there and have a great day today. I hope I didn't miss anybody else. I'm doing great. Quill, hey, Will. We have no snow in Minnesota. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Give my sister a chance. She'll walk outside here later on this morning, and it'll be snowing in about an hour. That she's convinced. My sister's convinced every time she goes outside it snows. But no snow in Minnesota right now on the ground. Wonder if it will be a brown Christmas. I'm enjoying these 40 to 50 degree days. As you know, Minnesota should be slammed with blizzards by now. Yeah. I know it. Upper part of Wisconsin, where my family is, they don't have any snow either. And then, I also have family down we have a farm just across the border. And hold on a second. All right. I'll answer him later. But yeah, there's very little snow around, and we don't have any snow down near the Twin Cities either. I don't know where you're at, but our family estate across the border, there's no snow there either. But she'll walk outside. She's convinced of it. Every time she walks outside is when it snows. Leave it to Beaver. Good morning. Busy this morning. Just wanted to stop and show support. Please smash the thumbs up. I hope everyone's having a great day. Well, thank you, sweetheart. I really enjoyed your stream the other day. I had very, very well done. Thank you again. You guys should go out there and check out Leave It to Beaver. She does a great content over there on her channel. Check her out. You're in west central Minnesota, 100 miles west of Highway 7 from Minneapolis. Okay. My sister is up by trying to think of the nearest town that she's closest to. Well, I mean, I got family all up and down Minnesota, from International Falls up at the top of Minnesota, Brainerd, and then Little Falls, Bemidji. Did I say Brainerd? St. Cloud, coming down. And then in the Twin Cities area, all around from Eden Prairie, St. Louis Park. But my sister is upstate. She is, I'm trying to think of the nearest town. Most people don't understand where she's at when I just say the town. Lacey. I don't know what the nearest. Stacy, Minnesota. Lacey, up that way. Connie Kelly. We're getting very little snow here in upstate New York, which is unusual this time of year. I think a lot of the snow, lack of snow, has to do with they call it an El Nino or whatever winter. I don't put much stake into that stuff. I just know here where I am, if it does snow, people freak the hell out. And the line, at our local Les Schwab tire center, it's like, place where people go get tires, will be around the block, where people trying to get studded tires, as soon as there's a quarter inch of snow on the ground. Every year it happens. And then come, February, you'll find, studded tires on Craigslist like there's no tomorrow. Eddie Haskell and Larry were two of my favorite characters on that show. We're getting. Oh, thank you. I'm really, really glad you enjoyed it. I really do. I really enjoy your content. Leave It to Beaver. Yes, Gala. He is doing 2 life sentences currently in California. To answer your question about the Michelle Mitchell case, yeah, he's doing 2 life sentences there. They haven't prosecuted him for the Gypsy Hill murders yet, which they according to the FBI, they are pretty sure he is the serial killer involved in those cases. So you can look up the Gypsy Hill serial killer on Google it. Yeah, but he is doing 2 life sentences there, and he'll be extradited back. I think the last I heard, they're hoping to extradite him back in January to Nevada to stand trial, but he'll most likely just take a plea. I mean, he's never going to go home anyways, so just add it to it. But the state of Nevada wants the death penalty in that case, so. You don't have any snow in San Diego yet? Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck, Mike. Has it ever really snowed in San Diego? They have studded tires? Yep. They do here. back. Got early morning company coming. Eeps, house is a mess. Oh, sorry about that, Rain Dancer. I was trying to the other day when they were coming out to hook up and fix the cable and internet and everything else for everybody here. The guy came to my door. All my dogs are all like barking like crazy. He's at my door, and he's sitting there, and we have the Ring doorbell, and he's sitting there holding his finger on it, pushing the ring button over and over again, which it's set up to a chime inside the house. We get mobile alerts, but we also have a chime inside the house. So he's sitting there and he's doing it. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know it was ringing inside your house." I'm like, "Do you not know how a doorbell works?" But he wouldn't come in my house until I put all my dogs out in the backyard. He's like, "I don't want to get bit," and I'm like, "They're blind and old. They can't even see. They see motion, but they can't see. They can't define anything to to be able to bite it." You can get liquor at the grocery stores over there. Well, here, where we live, Rain Dancer, you can buy wine in a liquor store. You can buy beer. In some stores, you can buy select. I mean, sample like different things, but you can't get everything in the grocery stores here. I know, like me, if you go to Safeway or Fred Meyer's here, they have Safeway. Well, all right, Fred Meyer's is completely different from other grocery stores, as you know. It's kind of like a Sam's Club to a lot of people out there. But in the Fred Meyer's, the Kroger stores here, they have an independent liquor store within their store. The liquor is sold. Liquors like hard liquors and wines is actually a separate entity. It's not part of Fred Meyer Kroger family. They may have employees who are working in there or help stock those shelves, but it's an independent license. Because I know a lady who works for Fred Meyer Kroger stores here. It's a completely separate entity and liability. So it's just like the guns and ammo. The guns and ammo here that are sold in Kroger stores is completely separate from the actual store. That was a great show. Laverne and Shirley. Don't know what show we're talking about. I thought somebody said Lenny and Squiggy. That would be Laverne and Shirley. Seville, Savazel, Hasley Incorporated. Or wherever the song went. I got the jingle running through my head now. My son lives in Arkansas, and his county is dry, no alcohol sold anywhere. I've been to dry counties in Texas, and I can't remember what town it was, but on one side of the street you could drink all damn day, but as soon as you crossed the street, you couldn't drink anything or have it there. That was crazy. We were visiting family and friends down there. That's been a while. I hear from them on Facebook, but that's when you have friends and friends and family all over the world in the United States. That's pretty much the only reason why me and my wife use Facebook, is because it helps us keep in contact with our family and stuff, who are all over the place. And I've got family in Ireland and in Scotland, the UK. I've got an uncle who lives in Madagascar. He's doing missionary work there right now, but I'm trying to think of a state that we don't have family or friends in. Pretty hard. But the only thing we use Facebook for, though, is to keep track of everybody. Mike gets snow in the mountains to the east. Well, yeah, but do you get snow in San Diego? Hiring grocery stores carry liquor. You're gonna get drunk just sitting here listening. The Statler Statler Brothers that I go to has an aisle full of liquor on one side and ice cream on the other, it's like a family aisle. Oh, I thought that said Statler, as in the Statler Brothers, as in the the musicians. I was like, what? It's like, okay, the Statter Brothers. Okay, bros. You don't have anything around here like that. The rain dancer buffering here. Sure, it's your Bluetooth. Sorry. Rhode Island? Oh. Does anybody live in Rhode Island? Oh. Well, I'm sure there are people living there. I don't know if there's anybody here on the stream that's from Rhode Island. Don't think that I've run into Rhode Island resident ever. There might be some out there. Thinking, Mike, I don't know of anybody who's a subscriber from Rhode Island. Definitely got some in the Carolinas, Florida, Washington, D.C., Michigan, New York, New Jersey. I like Swedish vodka. I think it's called Slavic. Yeah. Starfire. It's exactly what it's called. My daughter has some of that in the house. Comes in I think it's about the same proof as vodka. I've never been a vodka drinker myself. R&R. Whenever I do drink, anything, but I drink this R&R. I've had this bottle here for probably 3 months now. No, I take that back. I bought that bottle on the 4th of July. I've drank that much of it since the 4th of July. It's Canadian whiskey. A blend. Every once in a while, I like an R&R or a Cuddy's and Coke. Every once in a while. Lori Beth is in Michigan. You get liquor at Rite Aid. Our Rite Aid store here, the only thing they sell is beer, and boy, do they sell a lot of beer. I don't know how our Rite Aid here does it, but they always have the cheapest price on beer. No joke at all. You can go to a grocery store, say like it costs $17 or whatever for a case of beer at the grocery store. They always have it for $12. It's like $5 cheaper. I don't know how they do it. Maybe it's because they're buying it on such a large volume, they get a discount. But no one can touch what the Rite Aid store here can sell beer for, which I always found a little bit odd. because you go in and the very first things that you go into the store are aisles full of beer on one side, and then they have tobacco, chewing tobacco, cigarette smoke, cigarettes, and then they have all the jewels and all the different e-cigarettes and stuff like that, and then you have to walk past all of that to get into the store to get to pharmacy. But they got that stuff right up front. Whiskey sours? Ugh. I've never been a fan of whiskey sours. My friend Bill, he got me hooked on this on R&R. He used to drink R&R straight, or he would drink it straight on the rocks. He'd call it a three finger splash, or he'd drink Crown Royal, and it just of Coca-Cola on the gun sometimes just to give it color, he said. I tried surfing once, Mike. Couldn't do it. I couldn't stand up on the thing. Every time I tried to stand up, I fell right over. I can skateboard. That was my life for a lot of years, Mike. I still have a one around here somewhere. I got a Rob Roskop skateboard. It not one of his originals. It has Indy trucks on it and Peralta wheels. It set it for street skating. That's why I like the videos that that are on your channel, your son's skateboarding. But a lot of years. Tried surfing a few times. My friend took me and laughed at me. And I tried it once. One time, I went with a buddy of mine. I think we were up near Santa Monica. I can't remember exactly where it was. I mean, Jesus Christ! And think back what year it was. I want to say 97, maybe. It's been a while. Maybe 96, somewhere in there. Yeah, my friend was like, "Oh, you can skateboard. You can do this." I'm like, "No, it's not the same." My kids made me get a newer board. They still skate independent trucks. Yeah. There's a guy that I follow on. He has a YouTube channel. It's called the Donut Operator. He used to be an officer in Oklahoma, and I think in Oklahoma. But they're in the process of moving. I think they're moving to Texas. I'm not sure. I have to go. I haven't watched his channel in probably about almost a month now, so I'm falling way behind. But he has a skate shop there, or at least he did. But after he left law enforcement, his sister is still in law enforcement I believe in North Carolina, or maybe she might be in South Carolina. I'm not sure. One of the Carolinas. But he does Leo recaps on his channel, and he's also on Twitch. He does a cooking show on Twitch, which is just absolutely hilarious. Watching this man try to cook something is just he has no culinary skills at all. Skateboarding does not equate to surfing or snowboarding. No, not well. Snowboarding a little. I took the snowboarding pretty easy. I bought my first snowboard when I lived in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, if you're from Minnesota at all, there ain't very many places to go snowboarding in Minnesota. That's when I bought my first snowboard. It was a GNU. It had that classic 1980s colors, the pastel blue with the pink, and white on it. It was a GNU snowboard. I bought that when I was still in high school. Well, it was the first snowboard I bought. I had that for years until it started to delaminate and we couldn't fix it anymore. Then I finally got rid of it. And then I bought a Burton snowboard. I had that for, well, see, my ex-wife got rid of it along with all 90% of my shit. So that was a long time ago. 28 years ago, somewhere in there. I'm not good at snowboarding, but I can at least have fun doing that. Surfing, I need a really long board. I think if I ever went back out and tried surfing again or something like that, Mike, I would probably just stick with like a boogie board. I could probably do that. My ex-wife got rid of it when I got rid of the ex-wife. Oh man, I can make an entire channel of all the shit my ex-wife did to me. But that's neither here nor there. She's gone, and I've moved on to bigger and better things in my life, while she's been stuck in the same rut for all these years. Bye, Snowy. Always fun to rid thyself of the exes. You'll probably try it again, Mike. I'm not dead yet, so you never know. Might as well try it again, huh? Now, a lot of it takes patience. The payment plan is astronomical. For what? Oh, the payment plan to get rid of the ex-wife. Okay, I got it. I was like, what is the payment plan? I don't know. I made it out. I made it out of my first marriage with a car, and a storage locker full of clothes, and my guitar. I still have my guitar. Don't have it in here. I don't think I've ever shown anybody my guitar. Well, I've got several guitars, but I got one that it's my pride and joy. It's a acoustic. It's a Gibson, but I restored the guitar when I was 14, 15 years old, and a dear friend of my family's gave it to me. It was kind of like he knew he was dying, and he wanted me to have it because I used to go over to his house, and we would sit on the front porch and just play the guitar, and he'd show me how to play different chords and stuff, and we would just sit and talk, nothing to do, in the summer times, and especially around here. So I go over and I'd hang out with him, and it kept him company, because his family and his children had all moved away, and we'd invite him over for dinner, and he was just a great man. He was full of of knowledge of life, and so many people just ignored him. But he gave me the guitar, and when he gave it to me, it was cracked up the back. He's like, maybe you can do something with this old guitar. And I'm like, okay, I'll see what I can do. And I learned. I went to school, and I took like a wood shop class on purpose. And all I wanted to do was fix that guitar. And I was like, okay, so what do I need to do? How do I fix this? And that was my project. I spent the entire year in class, and where he helped me take the entire back off of it and then re-glue it. And then acoustically, it was going to change it. So when we put it back on, you could definitely hear the glue that it was resonating inside. So it had like a really awful sound, like it resonated wrong. Let's just say that. So he helped me, cure the wood and everything else to fix it with the proper type of I can't remember what kind of wood it is, birch or whatever, the back of a Gibson is made out of. And then we redid the entire thing, and bent it and made it, fit. And then I painted it black and silver. I still have it all these years. Don't ever play it anymore. I can't, but I still have it. You got away with your car, your bass, and your CDs. I got some CDs. I got a whole bunch of CDs from the 80s that most people don't want to listen to. Most of it's punk music, like the Replacements, their Stink album, the Descendants. I've got all my original 80s CDs of and stuff like that. But most of that stuff I didn't have it was either in the car or it was somewhere else. Just like the record albums, they weren't there. I think they were at my mom's, because she would have thrown it all away or given it away to whoever the hell was there. That's awesome. It's a true gift he gave you. The knowledge that he gave me about life was far more valuable to me than the guitar. But the guitar, it means something to me. I've got a couple. Well, I think I have three acoustics and 2 electric guitars in the house still. I mean, they're all down in the basement right now. They're all in cases, but I can't remember the other ones though. Who makes them? I mean, they're not very valuable. I mean, they're valuable to me. One belonged to my grandfather. One belonged to a guy my mom was engaged to marry, but who died of cancer. I helped take care of the last part of his life. But I should probably see if his daughters want that one back. Does anyone know when Lori and Chad's trial begins and if it will be streamed live? Well, Gayla, I can answer the last part of that. There is no chance in hell that, and sorry for my language, but no chance in hell that the East Idaho News and Court TV would ever miss a moment of that. They will be live streaming it. I can guarantee that. And when it does happen. Now, Lori and Chad both, I don't have my notes in front of me here, but both of them still have another hearing apiece, I do believe. Chad just had one not too long ago where he asked to have him and his attorneys asked to have the charges dismissed and to also move the venue of the trial and have it. They didn't argue about separation since the judge already ruled on that beforehand, but that was a couple weeks ago. I'll post it. I'll post a thing after the stream, Gala, in the community tab here on YouTube. I'll post a little blurb about Lori and Chad when their trial dates are and what their next trial court date is. I don't think they've set an actual trial date yet because they still have preliminary hearings that are going to happen between now and then. Your brother's band recorded one of their albums at Bill Stevenson's studio. Stevenson produced it. Wow. I didn't know that. That's cool, Mike. What was your brother's band's name? Or are they still together? Is it hard to get rid of instruments? I've given away more than I've wow. I used to buy them and then either fix them and then give them to children who couldn't afford it. So I don't know if anybody else out there, but I'm sure somebody has fallen into this. At least this is how it works here. When it comes to children elementary school, who want to learn an instrument, and be in like school band or something like that, they have a pretty good racket when it comes to that. So certain local businesses make contracts with the school to, if you want to learn the accordion, they will lease you an accordion or sell you and your parents an accordion on a payment plan, and they add so much interest in fees to it all. They just nail them to the wall. Violin, ukulele, the kazoo, whatever it might be. So if the kazoo costs, $5, they'll sell it to you for $65. And you're not getting anything more than what you could get online. You can buy the same exact model of kazoo someplace else for $1. But they nail them to the wall. So I have a lot of nieces and nephews. And my niece, I started off with my niece. She wanted to learn the violin. And I said, well, I know your mom and dad can't afford to lease or buy you a good violin. So, with all my skills and contacts and around the world, I reached out to people I knew from all across the United States, and a couple in Canada. And I asked, does anybody have a used violin for sale? And I found someone who, I think she was in, I want to say Arkansas or something like that. She had a violin for sale. And I made an agreement. I bought it for a couple $100 off of her. It turned out to be worth a heck of a lot more than that, but it needed a new bow. Well, it had a bow, but the string on it needed to be replaced. It needed new strings on the violin itself. It belonged to her daughter, but it turned out the violin was worth probably $4,000. But I only paid a couple $100 for it. I gave it to fixed it up, got it redone, gave it to my niece, And then she played it for a year, and then she gave up on it, and then she gave it back to me, and then I gave it to another kid who I didn't know, who we just reached out through social media, who needed a violin for school. And I think that kid, that boy, he probably played it all through high school, middle school, high school. But then I did the same thing with guitars. I did it with clarinets. And just buy them and then give them away. But it's easy to get rid of instruments. It's hard to get rid of instruments that you have an emotional attachment to. Advice on an old guitar for 20-year-old grandson. He's 6'2" and taught himself playing on a first guitar, and I gave him a couple of years ago. If I want any ideas, nothing too expensive. He's Army bound ROTC. Well, there are a lot of reasonable price, guitars that actually sound really good that you can buy. I know for a fact that they sell a pretty reasonable guitar, brand new, you can get from Walmart for, I think it's $165, and it comes with a soft case. I mean, they're not that bad. Martin Guitars even makes an entry level one. I don't know if you can get it at Walmart, but you can buy them on Amazon. I mean, so for less than $200, you can get a really decent, acoustic guitar. I know that they have it on Amazon right now. If you go to Amazon, you can get a guitar, an amp, and a soft carrying bag, and the cords. The cord that goes from the guitar to the amplifier. You can buy the entire package for less than $200. Because I saw that it was on Black Friday deal. Fender acoustic can be for $100 at Guitar Center on sale. Yeah, I don't shop a lot with the Guitar Center anymore. I used to buy a lot of these the cables for the shit. Sorry about that. For the studio. I used to buy a lot of them from there, but these ones I bought all from Pile, the manufacturer. I bought them directly from them because I found them to be cheaper, and Pile also has a rewards program. So Fender makes decent priced guitars. They do. Clement shoes. I just want to ask you about that. So the other day I was going through the channel membership, and I was looking at the different names. Is it supposed to be hard drinking mama? I mean, it's none of my business, but I was just wondering about the actual name, if that's what it's supposed to be. Do they come in lengths? Hard rockin' mama. Okay. All right. Your daughter's names me Gardner. Oh, okay. Do the guitars come in different sizes? Sure, they come in different sizes. You can buy a little mini guitar, that's a little bit bigger than a ukulele. You can buy them all the way up to oversized Spanish guitars, and I think they actually call them something different. But Now, it's 6'4". And just get him a standard size guitar. Doo-doo-doo. Never played the keyboard. My dad used to play the organ. Loved playing the organ. And there's an instrument that's hard to get rid of, an organ. Try to get rid of one of those. What does my son want for Christmas? Don't know, Gayla. That's the hardest one. I mean, the boy has more enjoyment with a cardboard box than he does with the actual items most of the time. That's the truth. He's got an entire fort in our living room. Sorry. Get myself some coffee. But he has an entire fort in our living room, cut up in out of cardboard boxes that I cut doorways and windows in, made a little fort for him in the living room. These huge boxes, but Hazel, welcome to the stream, Hazel. Glad you could be here this morning. I hope you're doing well. We had an organ that reason why I said that was not this house, not the last house, but we had an organ that we had at one of our previous houses that me and my wife owned, and we couldn't get rid of it. We put an ad in the paper, free. We tried Craigslist, we tried anything, everything. We put flyers up, free, come and take it. We couldn't get rid of it. And me and my friend, we loaded it up in my pickup truck and we took it down to Goodwill, and Goodwill wouldn't take it. They told us nope. So we drove down the street and we left it behind in O'Reilly Auto Parts and next to their dumpster. Sorry, but nobody would take it, and we were selling the house, and it had to be gone. Nika Crafts, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing well this morning. Well, I'm doing great, Hazel. You can't admit that. There are true crime people around, and you just admitted to littering in Oregon. I did. I tried so hard to get rid of that damn thing. I mean, it was free. I couldn't get anybody. We called the local. We have a place here. It's called Ebony and Ivory. They sell pianos and organs. We called them. They wouldn't take it for free. Nobody would take it. Tried everything we could to get rid of it, and finally we just said, well, then the closest dumpster and the one dumpster that we could think of that the gates were never locked on was at O'Reilly Auto Parts. So we pulled up next to O'Reilly Auto Parts, dropped the tailgate, carried it off, set it next to it. We didn't destroy it. I mean, somebody could have found it and said, you know what, I like an organ for free. They most likely picked it up and threw it into the dumpster because all I had to do was push it in. It wasn't like it was sitting on the ground and then they had to pick it up and throw it in. They just had to push it off into the dumpster. But yeah, we definitely did illegally dumping an organ. Dun dun dun. Well, thank you, Hazel. I appreciate that. I try my best, but I am flawed. I am human. In the end of it all, oh yeah, Connie, Kelly, we tried. The Catholic Church, they didn't want it because they have an organ built in there. The monastery didn't want it. We tried a couple of different Baptist and churches and anywhere we could think of. We called it, and we really did. I mean, a lot of legwork to try to get rid of an organ for free. Nobody wanted it. The reason why Goodwill didn't want it is because it takes up so much space and nobody buys them. And we're like, you can have it. Just take it. We'll move it into the building for you. We'll put it wherever you want. They're like, nope, don't want it. And at that time when we got rid of it, though, that was been 10 years, 15 years, something like that. But since then, there's a lot more avenues to get rid of one now. We actually have an e-recycler place here where if we wanted to get rid of one now, they would take it apart for the circuitry board and everything else inside of it. So they recycle computers and monitors and all kinds of stuff like that for the precious metals that are in them, along with the copper and everything else, and everything, plastics and stuff like that all get ground back up and then into bins, and then they sell all that stuff off to other companies that use plastics. But they're I think they've only been around for about 5 or 6 years now. But there's a heck of a lot more ways to get rid of stuff like that nowadays as opposed to then. It's like the big screen console TVs. You couldn't get rid of those back then either. They went straight to the landfill if nobody wanted them. But now there's somebody who actually wants them. I don't know what kind of items they get in them. And and if you think back, before that, with older TVs and radios and stuff like that, especially those that were tube TVs and radios, people didn't want those after technology had advanced to a point. But now everybody wants them because they can't get the damn tubes in the circuit, the boards out of, they need them to keep the older stuff alive, the vintage stuff. You try to get rid of a recliner in good shape one, saying nobody would take it for free. They all assumed something was wrong with it. We charged $5, $10 and got it sold quick. It's like you can't see it, but in the other studio here that we're currently building, Mike, my wife got this really super comfortable chair. It's purple, and it's really super comfortable. But the lady was telling us that she tried to get rid of it, and nobody would buy it. And she had it listed for $50. She spent $225 for it, and she couldn't get rid of it for $50. Nobody would take it. So then she tried to get rid of it for free, and she did the same thing. She put it up on Craigslist for $10, and my wife bought it the next day. But We still have to find another chair to put in there in the other studio, and that's where we're gonna film our podcast in there. Once the studio space is done, we just have to soundproof it next. So then in this entire, what used to be a 2-car garage, 2-car plus garage, is now our studio. So this space is 15 by 22, and the other one is 14 by, I just measured it. Hold on. Get my notebook out. Because I have to buy the soundproofing sheets. The other studio is 14 feet by 22. And that's also where we're gonna on January 1st is when we start our third channel. The Real Duct Tape Bandit, welcome. How you been doing? Just wanted to pop in and say hello to everyone. Hope your day is beautiful and sun shining here in Oklahoma, but got to work, and the town I live in is putting on a parade, which will pass in front of my job. Wow. Well, I hope you're doing great, the Real Duct Tape Bandit, or Duct Tape Bandit as it used to be. Wow, and each one of them sold for $50. Friend of mine had a gaming chair that had a cracked black vinyl with duct tape all holding it together. It looked awful, so comfortable. You could fall asleep in it. I got a couple chairs like that. The gentleman who used to own a local bar, he retired, and when he closed the place down, he took everything. The giant sign that was on the building itself, it's probably 30 feet by, I don't know, 50, 60 feet. Huge neon sign. He still has that and all the tables and chairs and everything that was in that bar. He took it all. He took the bar, everything out of the place. And he has it all in his garage. And he had a yard sale about 10 years ago. This is just how bad I am. So at the yard sale, he was selling off a bunch of old wooden chairs. And I went through the stack, and I brought 15 chairs from him. And most of them are missing either the cushion you sit on, or they need repair, they need gluing, or something that'll put them back together. But I bought all these old chairs, and I think I've fixed maybe four of them. I got one over here on the other side of the table, but I'm going to eventually fix them all. They're on my project list. After all these years, I still have them all. They're all sitting out in the stacked up in the storage building. That kind of unique. So there's the 2-car garage here, 2-car garage that way on the other side of it. There's a storage building behind here, and then out towards the back part of the property, I have 2 other storage buildings. One has a kayak in it that has never been in the water. Never been in the water. Kayak, life jacket, paddle, it's all still sitting there. Bought it for my daughter. She wanted to go kayaking, and then she decided she didn't. I'm going to get that out of here. I got to sell it, get rid of it. Parades are pretty much the same. My town is having a parade when every other town has canceled theirs because of COVID. The citizens in this town are so disrespectful and don't care if they catch it and pass it on. That's sad. They've canceled everything around here. And they actually, here locally, they set up a toll-free number to rat out your neighbors on Thanksgiving Day. So you could rat them out. And then they had three people from the local health department, along with a sheriff's officer, who went around, and if you were having a social gathering of more than 5 people, they wrote you a ticket for $1,000 on Thanksgiving Day. So we only had 9. Oh well, we broke the rules, but most of them, of the 9 came by for a short period of time to have dessert, because we were busy that morning and that evening. You're up there by Lake Erie, huh? I didn't know that. Or maybe I didn't, I just forgot. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and got to drink cold Jägermeister. Would you believe I've still never been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? They built it back in the 90s, and didn't they? I'm not sure when they built the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've never been there either. Zero stoplights, and the one having the parade has 2, which at least one is never working. Hillbilly USA, where I live. Huh. My hometown, back home in Wisconsin, we don't have any stoplights. We have one stop sign in town. That's it. Right in the middle of Center Square. Well, it's there. No, there's 2 stop signs. There's one on each side of the fountain that's in the middle of town. That's it. There's no stop signs anywhere else. You drive down the streets, you just know, side streets, you know that, to look before you drive through the intersection. But there's only like 116 people there during the entire year. It peaks a little bit during the summertime. It might get to 300 during the summer, because there's tourists, and it's getting a little bit more populated. People have built condos on the outskirts of town where there used to be farmland. But people like to escape the Twin Cities and other parts, to come up there. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was built in 1983. Established in 1983 by a group of leading figures in the music industry, including Atlantic Records co-founder Admit whatever and Jan Werner, and published Rolling Stone magazine. Nonprofit Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation was responsible for creating the museum and the Hall of Fame, which began inductions in 1982. When was it completed, though? Museum in the Hall of Fame in Cleveland that celebrates the history of cultural significance in rock and roll music and honors and contributes of those who have played important roles in the music's creation. Scroll down. Established in 1983 by a group of leading figures in the music industry. The 150,000 square foot building, glass dome building, and integral assembly, blah, blah, blah. It opened to, okay, it was started in 1983. It was completed in 1995. It opened to the public three times prior to 1995 while they had part of the building done. The original part of the building of the Hall of Fame originally opened for three special occasions, but formally opened to the public in 1995. In addition to the Hall of Fame, the facility includes a wide variety of frequently changing permanent exhibits that draw the museum extension holdings and artifacts of rock and roll memorabilia in genre, geographic location, and biography of Welsh social culture and political history. Since 1995, several remakes and redesigns have been done to exhibit blah, 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 to expand certain areas. But there's your answer. 1982, they started doing inductions. It formally started construction, and everything else in the 80s, and officially opened to the mass public in 1995. Ta-da-da. Now we know about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I've still never been there. I would love to go someday. I've been to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. I've been there. I went there last time to the Baseball Hall of Fame. 7 years ago. I think it was, yeah, it'd be 7 years ago. My sister's been gone now for 3 years. Yeah. Okay, I was trying to think of where she was living at the time. So. You really enjoy talking to people online from different places. I agree with most of that, Duct Tape Bandit. I'm not someone who enjoys large crowds. I don't have any anxiety over it. It's just most people rub me the wrong way, I guess would be the best way to put it. Albeit not true. So which part is not true? The Birkenstocks? You've been lurking all morning, Leslie, everyone? Been lurking all morning, but wanted to say hi before you went off. Interesting, no topic live stream. Would love to see the old guitars someday. Hi to everyone. Happy Christmas from Idaho. Oh, happy Christmas from Idaho, as you know, from over here across the border in Washington State. Happy, and holiday and Christmas for you and your loved ones, and thank you for being here today. No reason to lurk. You can join in anytime. No topic. We talk about everything and nothing at the same time, as you can see. Are they dying? No. To answer your question, have there been massive outbreaks? Yes. Yes, there has been. And there's been no bigger outbreak of COVID in an institution, as in jail, than there was at the Cook County Jail in Chicago. It at one point they had something like 70% of all the inmates were diagnosed who had COVID, and that as they released them, they didn't care. They just kicked them out the door and said, well, you're sick, go home. And they went home and infected people, and the guards got it, and they went home and infected people, and they did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. The Cook County Jail. And people were screaming, you can't do this. You can't do it. At the same time, when this was in the early onset of the COVID, when they started taking people who were testing positive for COVID, instead of sending them home, they were sending them to nursing homes to get better. What a bad idea that was, right? Sorry, don't know why that's hiding that. My favorite music is doo-wop from the 1950s and 60s, but I also enjoy Motown, British Invasion, and classic rock. That's cool. Doo-wop. I've never been a big fan of doo-wop. I mean, definitely Motown. I mean, I can agree with you there. I love Motown. The Motown case, that was a time in history that probably will never be repeated again. It's sad. Sad that we will never see something like that. 5,000 new cases of COVID yesterday in Georgia. Wow. My wife is working. She works in a pathology laboratory, but because of COVID, everything else, they've had to switch over to processing COVID, and they had more than 1,000 cases here just locally in our area that moved through their laboratory just last week. That's the largest spike since March of positive results. And a lot of it had to do with people not social distancing. And we had during the political run up, not just president elections, but we also had governor races, and we had other political party, things that were going on. But there were several candidates who were running for political offices who had held what they called constitutional right, freedom of speech rallies. So they actually encouraged people to show up at their rallies and not wear a mask, not the social distance, and everything else. And they saw humongous spikes from people who attended these rallies who tested positive for COVID. It was just ridiculous. It's like, really? Come on, people. But sorry, I didn't mean to miss your comments there. Chris Cass, Hi, Chris. Crisis Cat. Cast. Not Chris. Crisis. I'm going to be able to read tomorrow. Or maybe today, sometime. I English well. Welcome to the stream. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. Your thing there. I'm sorry about that. Dave May. Do you pronounce it May? I'm sorry if I'm wrong there. Hey, Connie, did you ever hear of Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs? They had a number one song called Stay, and also wrote Little Darling. One of the original singers sang at my wedding. Wow, that's cool. Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs. Huh. Some reason that sounds familiar, but I might be thinking of something completely different. Sure, it's not the Zodiac Killer, but I mean, when I hear Zodiac, I mean, obviously I think of Zodiac Killer, or I think of people who are into astrology. But the name Maurice Williams sounds familiar, though. I've been saying since day one of this pandemic that this put here to thin the herd, to speak when buttholes have it and choose to go around the elderly. That's what makes my blood boil. Well, what really gets mine is those who are in their early 20s and early 30s who think, well, it's got a, they hear the it's got a 99.9% survival rate. So even if I get it, why care? And then they go home and they get, after they get it, and they don't care. Oh my God. Well, look, mom has it now, and mom just infected grandma. Well, it's twice as deadly for mom and grandma than it was for you dumbass. They don't think about that. Well, you can't see it. How do you know? Instead of doing the right thing, to start off with. Rosemary, good morning and welcome to the stream. From the EU. Wow, long ways. Oh, what time is it there? Welcome to the stream, though, Rosemary, and I'm glad you could be here today. Stay was the shortest number one hit ever. Oh, I have a friend that is old and blind now, but he used to be backup guitar and piano for the Grateful Dead and Jimi Hendrix. Wow. Well, that's cool. I've met when I was I have to think for a second here. I was now, first off, okay. Does anybody remember the 1970s? Did you have children that were in the 1970s, or were you a child in the 1970s? So this is what's triggering my memory and trying to remember how old I was. I was still in cloth diapers, all right? And then we had that plastic thing that pulled up over the diaper. And then you put your shorts or pants on. For anybody, maybe somebody out there remembers those years. If you don't want to admit to it, that's okay. But Crisis Cat was born in 1979. But all right, so it kind of dates me a little bit on that. But my mother used to work for a recording studio in White Bear Lake, Minnesota. The recording studio was I can't remember if it was RCA or another. It was a major label that owned the actual record studio. But I used to meet musicians all the time because my mom worked the front, like the receptionist desk, and she did clerical work, and I think she did accounts payable and stuff like that. But she used to bring me to her office whenever she couldn't have a babysitter. Maybe dad was off working someplace or whatever the circumstances were. But she'd made a little spot behind her desk there in the office. And I can still remember the carpet. It was burgundy and white. And it was not a long shag, but it was like a medium shag, carpet in there. And the furniture was yellow. All the chairs were yellow, but I used to play with my Matchbox car on the chairs because she'd take 4 of the chairs and so let them, so like an L. And she made me a little play area behind her desk there. But I used to meet some of the different musicians, and my mom has a photo album of different musicians who came in. She had their pictures taken with them, and other ones that where I'm in the picture in the background. I'm over to like the left, where she made this little area, but you can see me. I'm just a little squirt, little tyke. But I think the most famous person that was in those series of photos that we can actually identify. A lot of them, she didn't write the names down of, they're just a little tiny square photo about that big with a white edge, decal edges on them. I don't remember what kind of camera that was. It obviously wasn't, a Kodak, Instamatic, but I don't remember, what kind of camera that was. But Eric Clapton was the most famous one that was in those photos. I'm not in the photos with Eric Clapton. My mom is, and so there's like 3 other people who are there in the photos as well. But they mainly did blues and jazz musicians, recording studio for them. So it was a certain time in life, but never got to meet anybody like that. I'm not sure when Jimi Hendrix died though. Was it 72, 70, somewhere in there, didn't he? I could be wrong. I have to look it up, Google it. It's 8:23 p.m. in Bulgaria. Less than 1,000 fatalities here. Is that families? I'm not. No. I remember being 3. It turned 1980. You were born in 1976. Wow. Still a young in there, cement shoes. Yes, both my sons were born in the 1970s. Only used cloth diapers. Yeah, I have a very fond memory of, and it's kind of weird, maybe it's just me. All right, I have little snapshot photos in my head when I think back to those years. My dad, as I got older, my dad died when I was 10, but I remember, just certain things about him. He used to smoke up Winston cigarettes, and I just, to this day, I can still remember that smell of, because he didn't have a Zippo. It was the top flipped up like this, and then there was like a roller on it that you rolled on the side of it, and it was a gold lighter. He always used that lighter, but I just remember the smell of that lighter. That it's ingrained. I can smell it, and I don't think I've ever smelled anything like that since. And I've been around butane lighters and regular lighters, and stuff like that. But I just never smelled anything like that. But I remember that, and I remember this dish my mom used to make for my dad. It always grossed me the hell out. But I still remember it because it had Spam, and it had Velveeta cheese and pasta in it. But she would put gizzards in it as well. Ugh. I mean, I like fried gizzards by themselves, but I just remember the oil that would float on the top of her, taking a spoon and spooning off all this oil from it. And then she would save it in a jar and put it in the refrigerator. I don't know what she did with it, but I'm sure she fed it to us at some point or used it for some kind of cooking. The little snapshots like that in my life. I'm sure we all have little ones like that. I remember exactly what I was wearing to this day. And I haven't seen those photo albums in 30 plus years, at least. But I remember exactly what I was wearing the day my mom told me my dad died. I remember exactly where I was. I remember exactly what I was wearing. Everything. I was wearing tan shorts that had zippers that had like this little round circle on the actual zipper pulls themselves. So they had zippers on the thigh and then the pockets. I was wearing a blue and white tank top, and I was wearing white Converse like tennis shoes and socks. And I was sitting on, we had a stairwell went up this way and there was a landing and then it went that way. And I was sitting on the landing there when she told me that my dad had passed away. Still remember to this day. There's nothing to be sorry about. None of us get out of this life alive, Gayla. I mean, he was a great man. I wish he could have been here today to see his grandchildren, but he lived a long life. He did the best he could, just like me. He instilled all the morals and ethics in me as a young man. And I carry forward with those my entire life. And I'm going to make sure that my son, grows up with the same morals and ethics and understanding of the world and people, just like, he gave me. Pass it on. There's no reason to keep it to yourself. Do you? Your grandparents' death? I wasn't around when my grandfather passed away. I wasn't around. Well, I'm speaking of my dad's parents. When they passed away, I wasn't around. My mother's dad and his second wife, when he passed away, we think he was murdered, but we can't prove it. But I was living out here on the West Coast, and he was living in Eden Prairie, and not Edina, Eden Prairie, however you want to pronounce it, Edina, Prairie, Minnesota. He was living there when he died. We think his second wife killed him. We're all. I mean, most of the family is convinced of it. We were convinced of it then. He ain't gonna be convinced of us now, but they're both long gone. All we have now is photos on the wall in the house. My grandmother died on my mom's 50th birthday. It was ugly. Wow. Good morning, Short and Ice. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could be here this morning. Yeah. Deneen Bird, good morning from Delaware. It's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Deneen. So, all right, everybody. It's Deneen's bird's birthday this morning, today. So let's all sing her happy birthday. On a count of three. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday. I don't hear you guys. Come on, speak up. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Darnie. Happy birthday to you. Thank you for joining with me, everyone. Happy birthday. Good morning, Rupal. How are you doing, sweetheart? Hope you were doing well. Da, 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 da. You say it's your birthday. Da, 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 da. It's my birthday too. I love that song. I just got that, Rosemary. I thought your username was Rosemary, but it's Rosemary Kennedy. Oh, okay. Wasn't Rosemary Jack's mom? Jack Kennedy's? Wasn't that his mother's name? Wasn't it Rosemary? Gonna party like it's your birthday. Angela Watson. Good morning. And if I missed you earlier, I am sorry. James, welcome to the stream. And Angela, back to you. I'm glad you could both be here this morning, and welcome. No, it was his sister who had the lobotomy. Oh, they must be talking about something else. But I thought Jack Kennedy's mom's name was Rosemary. Hi. Sorry. People don't know how to stop texting me. Rose was JFK's mother. Oh, I thought her full name was Rosemary. Okay. My bad. Sorry about that. It's snowing here in Boston. Mr. Frosty. Good morning, Mr. Frosty. How are you doing this morning? Hope you are doing well. Staying warm since it's snowing there. I don't know. It could be snowing here for all I know. I can't see out the window from where I'm sitting right now. I know we had, I have to check the weather again, but well, it's blistering 29 degrees outside right now, as of right now. I was at, as of 8 minutes ago. 8 minutes ago, it was 29 degrees here. Can I say a few things on the O.J. Simpson case that interested you? Well, things that interested me about the O.J. Simpson case. I didn't know O.J. owned a Bronco until the slow chase down the freeway. Another thing that interested me about the case is I never knew that he had so many people who hung on to the case, like Kato Kalin, who turned it into an entire career based upon the fact that he lived in his little apartment, studio there next to the pool. O.J. Simpson is guilty as hell. He killed his ex-wife, and he killed Ron Goldman. Something else interesting about the O.J. Simpson case is it proves that people with money can get away with anything in this world, because O.J. bought his freedom on that, and without O.J. Simpson and that court case, we never would have gotten the Kardashians. Yay! All right, that's interesting things about the O.J. Simpson case that I found interesting. I was actually in the service. I can't remember where I was. L.A. I think we were going through L.A. or someplace at that time when the verdict got read. A little afraid of the tow truck. They love to tow your car here. You're surviving? That's good, Mr. Frosty. I found a clip of JFK losing his rag the other day. He's saying the F word. It was over some furniture he ordered. JFK Library tube. Oh. I got pictures of Mr. Rogers losing his shit, and I'm sorry for saying that, but he absolutely went nutso over a executive producer or something like that wanted him to change something. And you've probably seen the picture, some of the still photos from that, of him giving the double bird to the same guy. But they had an argument before they started filming that day. And then there's also photos of him next to the camera. So he's leaving the set and going off camera. And him and that producer still getting into it. People just lose their minds. You mean we have OJ to blame for the evil Kardashians TV show? Cement shoes? Well, that's where their dad got all the money. He became famous because he was on the defense team for OJ. So that made him the OJ case made him famous, and well, we have the Kardashians to blame for it. The TV show, yeah. And so in one way or another, maybe indirectly, but we wouldn't have gotten the Kardashians if it wasn't for OJ. Yay. The OJ trial was about having money. Sports star and the sign of the times. He was responsible for those crimes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. OJ is... I think it's still funny though. And then what he finally gets sentenced to prison for is for stealing his own stuff back. Things that were stolen from him, him and his buddies decided that they were going to steal back at gunpoint. But there's a lot of stuff that is still missing from OJ's home that they've never found, and there's most likely in the collections of some sports memorabilia, agent or collector out there. A lot of stuff that is still missing. That nobody has any idea where it went, and it's kind of sad that he lost all that stuff. But then again, you did kill your wife and her friend, so You pretty much deserve what you get in at that point. I think he had to sell off his Heisman Trophy, didn't he? I'm not sure about that. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. But I think he had to sell off his Heisman Trophy. Yeah, the Kardashians are gross. I don't watch reality TV. OJ jinxed the Ford Bronco. I love the Ford. You like the Ford Bronco? You ought to see the new one. They have one here. It's on for demonstration purposes only. It doesn't have a motor in it, but they have one here at a local Ford dealership. And I was over there talking to my friend, and they have it in the inside the actual where all the agents and stuff are on display. Wow. They've done a hell of a job in the redesign of the Ford Bronco. I think the Kardashians had second thoughts about OJ because of his actions. I think the Kardashians believe he killed Nicole and Ron. I don't know. I don't keep up with the Kardashians, but I just know who they are. There's nobody here in my house that watches reality TV either. How much time did OJ do on those other charges? I don't know. Did more time than. Unfortunately, he didn't do any time for the murders, but for stealing his own stuff back. I don't know. Don't have an idea. Sorry, Short Nice. Nicole killed Ron, then got engaged. Okay. The Dream Team, the book, verified exactly that. I didn't see the joke, Mr. Frosty. Or did I? Maybe I read it already. Oh, that was the other thing. If the glove don't fit, you gotta quit. The glove wouldn't fit me either if I spread my fingers out like that and try to put a glove on. I forgot all about the glove. OJ was sentenced to 33 years in 2008. In 2017, he came up for parole and was released 3 months later. Thank you. Drama must remain on stage. Spent 9 years and got parole. Yeah. There's so much shit. I'm sorry for using that language. About the Watts case. It's unbelievable. I could spend the rest of my life talking about the Watts case and trying to correct people on getting them the correct information, the factual information on that case, Mr. Frosty. It's an endless thing. And you can point them to the documents. You can show them the factual information all day long. But they heard it somewhere else first, and they came to a decision that wherever they heard, whatever they heard, it was right. And then there's the conspiracy nuts out there who believe that Nicole Atkins, has faked her entire cancer and everything else. I mean, the most vile, disgusting things are out there about that case. And I do everything I can to stay away from it all. It's so sad, that we live in a world. I mean, the internet is good for something, right? I mean, there's me on the internet, but I'll never be able to understand exactly why some people believe what they believe. It's like, well, you can believe in the deep, dark conspiracy theories all you want. You have to start off with a thread of truth first. To villainize, a woman and her dead children, and say that some of the most disgusting things that they've said about them. It's just, and then get somebody else to actually believe it. That's scary. That's scary that somebody else would actually believe it. And when you can actually do the research yourself. I mean, you don't even have to go down it, and request the actual documentation. Most of it's online now when it comes to the actual, disclosure and everything else about the case. But yet people believe it. They do. They really believe some of these really, dark, twisted conspiracy theories about it all. OJ was disgusting and keeps on being disgusting. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, but he was a hell of a college football player and professional football player. He, as long as he kept himself on the football field, he knew what he was doing, and he was good at that. It's just the rest of it. His life off the field was, well, to say the least, filled with turmoil. There's a lot of athletes like that, though. A lot of people like that, I guess. When it comes to, interacting, and living the rest of your life, they just can't do it. But, they're at home, on the football field or the baseball diamond or wherever. But the moment they step off the field, they're lost at it all. We're going to go for about another 6 minutes here or so, and then I'm going to wrap this up. I got to get back to answering emails, and the one person who keeps on texting me is someone that me and my wife are trying to arrange to have on our podcast, and I kind of want to answer them back. I don't want to blow them off too much longer. Brenda, how do you donate to your channel? You are great. Well, thank you, Brenda. Well, there's several ways. I mean, I guess I can't see. I'm not on StreamYard today, so I don't have it. If you go to my actual channel itself in the upper right-hand corner, so that'd be the right-hand corner, there's links to PayPal. And underneath any video on my channel, you can join, be a channel member. There's Patreon. The links are up in the upper right-hand corner for those. I appreciate it, to everybody who does decide to do that, donate or, become a channel member or Patreon supporter. But I'm terrible at asking for it because, I know that what I do is definitely, I do my best, but I'm flawed, and I work my ass off to try to make this as best I could. And I hope the audio and video quality has been better today. We have been really working hard at this. And for two people who are not tech savvy, I guess would be the best way to put it, this has been a learning experience for me and my wife, a real learning experience. It's like, you can give us all the equipment in the world, but how the hell do you make it work all together at the same time? It just seemed like we got one thing going, and then something else would fail. I'm pretty sure if now I can disconnect everything and put it all back together, because we took pictures of how everything is connected on our cell phone, and then we sent them all to the cloud, so we have a backup of the pictures of everything, of how it's all connected, and we labeled everything. So yeah, it's been a learning experience. PayPal link is for donations, yeah, and I get some people who would prefer making one-time donations over a recurring payment. That's why I offer the PayPal to make one-time donations, cement shoes, because not everybody can incur a monthly. They're like, well, you know what, I'd like to support your content, but at the same time, I don't want that recurring monthly, membership. They bill you once a month, and Patreon, they bill you once a month, and they don't want to have to go through the entire thing of figuring out how to stop the Patreon or the channel membership. And that's okay. So I offer it all. Whichever works the best for each person. But I'm humble and I'm grateful for everybody who does support the content, because it's not free. It's definitely not free. Nothing's getting any cheaper. Well, thank you, Brenda. I appreciate it. So at the end of this this stream, you'll still see me sitting here, but I'm gonna play a song that my friend made me. I own the reproduction rights for, and I get to use them, and I've already made sure that YouTube knows that I have the copyright and the use agreement in place for it. But I'm going to play a song. It's an instrumental, but I'm going to play a song that I get to use in my videos from here on out that my friend made. I think it's only about 2.5 minutes of music, but so I'm going to start that now. Just a second here. I got to open the other tab. All right. I hope this is not too loud, because it's kind of hard because this is on the cloud, and I don't know what the if the audio difference is going to be from the cloud. Huh? What? Where am I from? I'm from Wisconsin. Hope this is not too loud for everybody. And that is it. That is the end of the trek. I had to stop it a couple seconds before the end of the trek because I do not have the rights to use the next track. And there's like a 2-second pause between the next one. All right, everyone. Have a great day today. Thank you again to everyone for joining me today and listening to me ramble on. I hope you all stay safe and warm out there and have a great weekend. I will see you next time. In the meantime, to everyone, we'll see you later.